my name is Karol Moros, and in this video we are going to build a new static website using the Astro static website generator. And the website we are going to work on is called WebAuthn Academy, a side project I built around 2 years ago. It was meant to be a website about WebAuthn, which is a technology you may also know as passkeys. And this website is very simplistic. I wrote it with Hugo, which is a static website generator written in Go. And Hugo is very fast, but it's also very simplistic. And it does, I think Astro in general provides a much better user experience, or at least development experience. So in this video, we're going to start building a new version of the WebAuthn Academy website using Astro. On my machine, I have the old website cloned. The repository of the old website is hosted at github.com/moros/webauthn.academy. I'm going to start by creating a new project using this command, pnpm create astro at latest. So this generator is going to first ask me about the name of a new project, and by default it's going to generate a random name. So I'm just going to accept it. And I'm going to use, what's this Starlight template? Maybe I should take a look at this Starlight template. Okay, let me see. So this looks very much like something that I wanted. This looks almost like what I wanted to build, but I think it would be too easy to just do it using this template. Or maybe this is a very nice template, and it's exactly what I wanted to build. But you know what, maybe I'm just going to try to rebuild it from scratch. So I'm just going to use this minimal template, and we're going to install dependencies, and we're going to initialize a new Git repository. And then let's see, cd clear nadir, git status branch main. Okay, I'm going to initialize a JJ repository. Okay, and then I'm going to add some more integrations. So I'm going to add pnpm with a DLX Astro, like this. Okay, Astro add Tailwind. Yes. Yes. Okay, we have added Tailwind CSS, and then we can add probably MDX. Which is going to be an integration with a Markdown engine. And I think at this point we can just try running pnpm run dev and see what the browser has in store for us. Localhost 4321. Okay, so at this point this is a very simple website. Do we actually have any content in here, or is it just... Okay, so it looks like there is not much content in here. And I'm going to open it up in Z. And the reason I'm using Z is because it's quite a decent editor for web technologies. And let's crack it open and see what we have in here. So right now I can already see that we are not applying the CSS yet, right? We don't have any CSS, do we? Okay, so there are links to the favicon, but there is no link to CSS. So I think what we need to do is we're going to have to import the CSS somehow. Let's see if we can do it like this. Import styles global CSS. Okay, and once I imported that style sheet inside of the layout, these styles got applied, this text became a sans serif font, and like this became the default font size and all of that, which means that we can now try to add some content. And I think this part with HTML is going to be repetitive, so I'm going to extract it into a layout component, which I'm just going to call layout Astro. And then it's going to be this, and we're going to add some props. So for example, this is going to take a title, which is going to be a string, or it can be undefined. And then we're also going to have a slot in here, which I'm not exactly sure how we did. Wait, Astro. So we have layouts. Okay, and it's enough to just specify a slot for it to work as a slot. Okay, so this is going to be a slot, and we can move this import statement to a layout, and then in here we are going to get the props from the Astro props global. So this is going to be title, and then we can say if title is present, then it's going to be shown as title WebAuthn Academy, and if not, it's just going to be WebAuthn Academy, like so. So now no, this is the wrong website, this one. So now if I go to index.astro, and if I import that layout from that particular file, and in here I just say layout title equals home and hello from layout, then we are getting the title set correctly, and then we are getting hello from layout on the page. Also, I have noticed that Z for some reason wants me to believes that Astro files should have four spaces for tabulation. Astro tab size is going to be 2. So let me restart this, reopen this file. So, okay, so now it correctly recognizes the file as having 2 spaces for indentation. So we have the layout, we have Tailwind CSS working. So we could try to do some more things around the layout. So currently we only have a body, and probably we are also going to have a header, and maybe if we wanted to build it more like this Starlight website, then we would have a header in here, and we would have a sidebar on the side, and then we would have another sidebar on the right, and the sidebar on the left is going to be like the table of contents for the entire website. And then the sidebar on the right is going to be a table of contents for this specific document. So we're going to have a top header, and we're going to have below the top header we're going to have a separate layout, which is going to be a sidebar, the main content, and another sidebar. So I think maybe we should start by doing this header thing, and since we now have Tailwind CSS, we can just start by defining its height in the HTML, and we're going to give it a height of 12, which is free rem, which is a bit small, but we'll think of something later. And in here I'm just going to say WebAuthn Academy for now. Okay, and you may notice that I'm on macOS, and in Brave these borders around it, and I don't like it, so I'm going to disable this feature. So now everything is again not rounded. Also, I currently have Dark Reader enabled on this page, and we may want to disable it to see what is actually happening with regard to colors. Okay, so we have a header, and I'm going to set a theme maybe. Color. Do you have like a paper color? Maybe we don't. Okay, so I'll start with body. We apply that the background color should be white in the light mode, but in the dark mode it should be BG, maybe Slate 900. Okay, and then text is going to be black when it's in light mode, and then it's going to be Slate 100, dark text Slate 100 maybe. Okay, this works. So how is this different? Okay, so Slate 900 seems to be very dark, but this page seems to be even darker, I think. Let's see, do we have a Slate 950? We do it, and it's even darker, and it seems perfect. And then for this header, we're going to do something a bit more. We're going to make it bigger, and we're going to make it a flex item center. So justify align item center, and now we can build the sidebars. So this is just going to be a temporary structure. It's probably going to be restructured later on. We're going to have a grid, and or we could also make it a flex. You know what? I could just make it a one big grid. Class equals grid, and you know what? We could normally do it in Tailwind CSS, but I don't really like all this. It's very. I think the syntax for grid templates in Tailwind CSS is very verbose. So I'm just going to define a custom class, and we're going to define the rest in the actual CSS. So this is going to be apply grid, or just display grid, and then grid template columns is going to be maybe like 200 pixels, one fraction 200 pixels, and then grid template rows is going to be auto and one fraction, and then minimal height is going to be 100 dh, and then the header is just going to be grid columns span 3, So the header is going to have its own row, and then in here we can build an aside which is going to have the background color of blue 100 for now, sidebar 1, and then another one which is also going to be blue. Okay, this is too light, at least for now, so I'm going to make it 700. Okay, and these are also too narrow, so I'm going to, and also okay, this doesn't seem to slide with the content, so this sidebar on the right is not moving, and the sidebar on the left has its own overflow. So yeah, for now I think I'm just going to make everything a bit wider. So maybe like this, 250 to 150, or maybe even 300 pixels and 300 pixels. Okay, the colors right now are a bit too much. Okay, and the header could be something like PG Slate 700 maybe. Okay, looks much more toned down. Okay, and then the sidebar on the left could be the same color, which would be 800 as well. Slate like this, and then to the header we can also add a border bottom. Okay, and then the border bottom could be, the border color could be something like Slate 300 or 500 maybe. Okay, and then the header, the sidebar on the right, on the left could have a border right, border Slate 500 maybe. Okay, and then this could also have a padding of 1.5 rem, and then the header could have a horizontal padding of the same width, and then the main content could be in the wrapper, and it could have a class of also padding 6, and then the sidebar on the right could also have a padding of 6. Great. And okay, and this could also have a border on the left, and the border would also be Slate 500, and the color should be the same as, actually this should just be transparent. So now we have a layout. Obviously it's not going to be responsive, but it's something to begin with. And then so we could organize the content in such that like basically the whole navigation would be here on the top, and then we would have different sub-navigations based on which section you have chosen. So on the current website we have the browser APIs described, and then we have an Elixir section, which is the most bare bones one, and then there is this Go section which has the most content, but it's also not really finished. So let's see if we can get some content on the left. That would be a nav bar, and there will be a UL, and we would have 4 list elements. You know what, li times 4 with an a inside. Oh, why doesn't it work? Like this. Okay, so I'm just going to use the fragments in here for now, and then this is going to be introduction, and then it's going to be browser APIs, and then there's going to be a section on Golang, and I don't really want to maintain a section on Elixir because I don't really write Elixir anymore. So I'm just going to say contact, and then these are now these are links now, but for some reason I don't have, my cursor is broken. Wait, so for some, maybe, okay, so now for some reason the cursor does not turn into a cursor pointer for now. Wait, is this correct? Class equals cursor pointer. So this should become a cursor pointer, but it doesn't, probably because I'm recording. And then this is going to be href equals home, and this also should be a cursor pointer, but I'm not getting cursor pointer anywhere. So I think, let's see. Can I get something? Cursor size? No. Pointer? Okay. I can make that pointer bigger, but I cannot make it actually work. I cannot make, for some reason I cannot make the pointer become a hand, which is annoying. What about, is it because of this? No, it's not because of this extension. You know what, I'm just going to restart the browser and see what happens. Brave streaming. Okay, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why it's not a pointer, but you know, just assume these are going to be links. And we could also already add some content. So I'm going to add a new directory called content in here, and I'm going to add a directory called Golang, and then inside it I'm just going to make it an index.mdx, and it's going to have a title of Golang and hello from MDX, like so. And this way, can I actually get it working somehow? I could look at the source code of this Starlight repository and see. So documentation, okay, examples, mark doc, Astro config. Okay, so there is documentation. What about the content config? Loader, Starlight loaders. Okay, so it seems like this just does everything we wanted, but I don't want to just use a template because that would be too easy. I wanted to build it more like from scratch. So we have pages. So we could just put could just put the pages in. We could just put these things in pages. So if I put these pages Golang index mdx, and then I copy this in here, and then when I go to layout Astro and change, change this to Golang. Can we actually, okay, so if we do this in Golang, we do actually get the content, it's just not rendered in the inside the layout. So I think I would need to do something more like I would need to create an actual page template. So this is going to be slug Astro, and then do I need to somehow specify the all the different collections, all the different pages? So dynamic routes. Okay, we have is get static paths callback, so we can assume. Can we assume? Okay, so what I wanted to do is I want to define those collections, and to this end we're going to need to define a content configuration. It's going to be at content config.ts, and we need to define a collection. So define collection from Astro content, and then import glob from Astro loaders. No, Astro / loaders. And then import z from Zod, which is a validation library. Astro Zod, like this. And then const pages equals define collection loader is going to be, I'm going to define and create a new directory and move this Golang to here. So this is going to be glob pattern, a wildcard, and then it's going to be mdx with the base of source content pages, and then schema is just going to be the object with a title, which is going to be a z string, and then export const collections equals pages, like this. So when we, okay, so this seems to have loaded correctly, and then I wonder if there is something like a way to, okay, so if you look closely, you can see that the way this is structured on the Astro website is first is a language, then comes like a top level navigation, and then we get a secondary level navigation. So we could probably do something similar in here. It seems, okay, so it seems like this is only navigation within the same page, and then these are links to actual pages, and then these are like top level pages. So I assume these would be like this would be defined as a page. So and actually I only want, okay, so this is going to be, it doesn't, okay, for now I'm just going to make it very simple. I'm just going to make those 4 separate pages, and then instead of calling this Golang index mx, I'm just going to make it a Golang mdx. This is going to have a title of Golang, and then it's just going to say hello from mdx. And then in here we're going to, you can say export function and content. So for routing we're going to need get static paths, and maybe it can actually be async. So const pages equals, why is this so slow? Okay, so reference, routing reference, get static paths, okay, and then okay, and do we get this content loader API? So how do I get the content? Content collections. Oh, and these don't need to be inside of source. And anyway, these are currently in content pages. So, okay. Querying collections. Okay, get collection. Const pages equals await get collection, and this is going to be import get collection from Astro content, and collection is going to be pages, return nothing, and we already get errors, and which, okay, so one of those one of my language servers is complaining about this tag, and now it's complaining about a different tag. Which is bollocks. Anyway, maybe I could implement this loader first. So it would of course be nicer if I got like any sort of IntelliSense. well, pages map page return params slug is going to be page data slug. Prettier failed. And why again? Did I get like one? Oh, okay. Too many parentheses. So now what we have is data. We can get, what can you get? Get entry. But how do we get the slug? You know what, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to look at my other website, which is also written in Astro. And I think it was called Starry Satellite, or it was this one. So how am I doing it in here? In pages, in here. Okay, so it comes from Astro params, and then and we can just use page ID, I think, and then const page equals await get entry pages slug, and then const content equals await render page, and then we can just do the layout here. Title equals page data title, and then the content. And well, okay, we have to import the layout, and let's see if we can actually get some content on the Golang page. I wonder if we can get like a sensible, I don't think we can get an actual debugger in here. Maybe we could just run a console log, pages. Okay, get static paths route pattern was matched. Okay. Okay, so the collection pages does not exist or is empty. So I have content config, and where do I have content config? In here? It's in content. Okay. Okay, so this is too deep. So now if I go to this page, okay, if I restart it, cannot read properties of undefined. Reading params, and we are path object params. And where did we get it? Okay, maybe it's because I didn't add any slug in here. Okay, maybe, so what are these? Console log Astro params. Okay, so what is Astro? What is Astro then? Okay, I'm going to restart server again. Okay, so Pages now has okay, Pages is now a defined collection. What if I just ignore this part? Would I still get the error? So what we have to define here is, yeah, it's like this. So data slug maybe. Yeah, so we're basically just debugging. We know that we are matching some paths, right? So why is this not working? Would it work if I moved it to a separate page, separate folder? Like this? So if I move it to page colon, no, it's the same error. So validate get static params. Okay, so what is the result of this? Return result and console log the result beforehand. Okay, so this is undefined, and this is because we have never returned from this page, from this function. Stupid me. Okay. Okay, great. So now we are getting correctly rendered MDX. And we can remove this line 14 and okay, and we just had to assert this is never going to be null. So now we have this MDX file, and if we modify this MDX file and say something like hello again, we're going to get more content. And now we can already see that even though we are defining a header of level 1 header and level 2 header, we are getting the same styling, and this is because Tailwind is overriding it. So I'm going to install a Tailwind plugin called Tailwind Typography. And oh well. So I just need to install this. Also, I just realized the text may have been too small for most of the video. Sorry for that. We're going to need to import add this plugin like here, and then in this page I'm going to just define everything as class equals prose. Dark mode is going to be prose invert, and then margin auto, so that the text is centered and that so that it's going to be white text if we are in dark mode. And yes, and now I'm going to move this back to this directory, and I'm going to delete this directory. So now the route should be at /golang again. Okay, great. So we have a new project. We have a new project, and we have MDX working. We have Tailwind working. We have a basic layout, and this is already pretty decent. So I think I'm going to delve into this topic more tomorrow. See you tomorrow.